All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Overwatch PIT Championships NA Group A, excuse me, NA Group A, day number 4. Right now, we are getting into the next match. It's going to be CLG facing off against Complexity. I am Jamerson, and once again, joining me, it is Hurix. Hurix, how are you feeling? Are you ready for this next match? What's going on, dude?
I'm definitely ready for this next match. I'm really excited for this one because this is actually, in my opinion, going to be quite a good game. Complexity has shown that they have at least one kind of decent map, I would say. I mean, obviously, things have been a little bit rocky for them throughout the series as they're currently, I mean, obviously not sitting very well in the grouping at the moment as they are one of two teams that are 0-3, but they were able to beat LG Evo yesterday on Numbani, and against Rise Nation, they actually, it wasn't, I wouldn't say like it wasn't horrific, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think Numbani might be an okay map for them, and CLG is going to be their opposition here. That is going to be going up against them on Numbani, and I think now that Complexity had a little bit time to work with, I would say that Complexity might be able to kind of shake things up a little bit and actually perform on this particular map, but. You know, obviously they've been incredibly inconsistent so far. I think that a lot of their poor results are, I mean, likely due to just a lack of consistency with the dive. A lot of that can be attributed to the fact that they've been experimenting with rosters, you know, for quite a while now. Even throughout the Carbon series as well. So I think that has a lot to do with it. But with this particular matchup, certainly I'm expecting a lot of good things from Hydration in particular. Obviously from CLG, this is a standout guy that has performed time and time again, especially since he's been able to pick up the Pharah, I think in particular. But even when he's been able to swap over to things like Roadhog as well, he's been able to perform. And I think that CLG, who have largely kind of, I guess in a way, kind of underwhelmed a little bit since their pickup back in, I mean, man, that was end of last year, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Overwatch NGE that they announced or something like that. It was around that time. I don't know if it was that exact tournament.
It was DreamHack Masters, I believe,
DreamHack
Vegas, where they announced it.
Oh, MLG Vegas is what it was. Yeah, you're right.
Was it MLG or was it DreamHack? MLG, yes.
It was one of those. But anyways, I mean, it's been some time here, and CLG hasn't really done all that much since then. And then finally now going into this particular meta set, I mean, they have certainly stepped things up. And I think really a lot of that can be attributed to Hydration working himself into this composition a little bit more fluidly than what this team has been able to produce out of him in the past. They did okay kind of in the May meta back in the day, but really since then they haven't been able to accomplish all too much. And then finally throughout this group stage, I think even through the qualifiers is when we first started seeing CLG actually kind of picking things up for the most part. And now finally throughout the group stage, they're definitely kind of coming into their own a little bit. And now they're kind of sitting in a similar position as what we saw Vivi's adventure actually in Group A of EU, where honestly, it almost seems as though CLG is kind of, again, that partition team, I guess you could say, that separates, you know, teams like Rise Nation, Selfless, and even to some extent LG Evil as well from the teams that aren't quite as prepared, I would say, so far for this group stage. But nonetheless, we are going to be jumping into the game here. Again, this is Numbani between Complexity and CLG. And I got to say, I mean, I think Complexity might be able to surprise here. I think largely CLG is favored in this whole series, but I think Complexity is going to be able to pull out a map on this one at least.
All right, we're just having a little issues in the server right now, and we'll get that underway once Waffle does join back in. But yeah, it is going to be Numbani, and so yeah, you characterize CLG as possibly the gatekeepers of NA right now. Like you said, separating out some of the top tier teams against the mid tier teams there. But I think CLG as a squad, you know, they've been moved into their team house for a few months now.
Oh yeah,
really gelling together and just practicing day in and day out.
And I mean, looking at CLG like as an organization, I mean, they don't really typically, at least from what I've seen with the teams that I'm personally familiar with, they don't typically just make a lot of swaps with their rosters. I mean, they like to really kind of get these guys gelled up and really kind of performing well together. And I mean, CLG as a roster hasn't made any swaps at all since being signed at all. So I mean, certainly, I mean, now it's finally kind of meshing. Things are finally coming together. The has picked up Mercy and really kind of performed very well alongside Hydration, who has stepped up again as that Pharah. But nonetheless, we are going to be seeing things starting up here finally, as we do see, Eco back on that Tracer on the defensive side. It looks like we are going to be seeing Complexity doing that same defensive stylings that we saw yesterday as well from them.
Yeah, triple DPS setup coming out on the side of Complexity here. They are onto the point now, but we do have Eco actually jumping onto them with that. But with Torque getting that huge Helix rocket kill onto Mikado, that's actually pretty large for Complexity. They're trying to shut down the support, but it's Hydration and Waffle-tastic coming in. 3 members down on the side of Complexity and Hydration, finding another one. This Pharah going largely uncontested in the air. And there we go, cleaning up Joe Meister. It's going to be an easy point A for CLG.
And we do see CLG, I mean, that was pretty much with ease. Hydration able to just easily take out Torque and Nicholas there pretty much by himself. I mean, obviously supporting him, but he just walked right in there, dealt with that soldier, and then came out and won that Pharah duel as well. I don't really know why Nicholas tried to take that fight in that corner when he was just taking it basically in a doorway and trying to be aggressive. So basically giving away what he wanted to do in that little duel. So I'm not really sure what that thought process was there. And now we're going to be seeing Miso killing off Meza, who's completely disjointed from the rest of the team. And this has been the problem with Complexity, is that the teamwork side of things really hasn't been there. I mean, they haven't gelled yet in that department. And while they do have some good talent on this team, things like Meza just being all the way out there by himself and just trying to contest alone while everybody else is just looking at Hydration and not getting anything done, that's the kind of stuff that you can't have happen as a team if you're looking to try to take down CLG.
Yeah, we got the Pharmacies battle going on right now as the payload going uncontested up the street. Waffle getting a great pulse bomb onto Torque, and now we do see CLG starting to push forward. Meza trying to delay on the payload right now as Shiny's just tickling away at him with that Tesla cannon. Meza is going to get demeched. He's starting to get focused down by iShiny. He cleans that up. And Waffle finding the kill onto Joe Meister. And so far, this defense coming out from Complexity, they haven't found their footing, and it's been all CLG.
And now CLG is going to continue this onslaught. And now I almost want to take back what I said with Complexity being able to take a map, because this doesn't seem like they're going to be able to really do anything in this matchup, because I mean, Hydration and Waffle-tastic are all over these guys. Hydration hasn't had to pull out his ultimate at all. In fact, I mean, really nobody on CLG has had to do anything. They've just been walking right over Complexity, just taking free picks all day long. And with 5 minutes, I mean, over 5 minutes on the time bank as they're about halfway to this next objective, the final objective of the map, they still have so many options to work with.
Here comes the self-destruct. Miso connects onto Eco. As sound barriers come out on both sides, but right now, everything once again going in favor of CLG as Hydration gets that kill onto Joe Meister. They're losing all of their members as Miso cleans up Torque, who tries to keep the point alive, but right now, about 5 minutes left on the clock, and they're just going uncontested all the way down this payload portion of the map. And now this is going to be the final opportunity for Complexity to try and contest Hydration. We have the Tactical Visor coming out from Torque, but it's getting largely eaten up by Miso's defense matrix.
And we will see Shake taken out there. CLG just continuing this pressure, this, I mean, literal onslaught that has happened here so far. Eco trying to hold on to the point a little bit. Meza getting pushed around there by Hydration. No one has enough damage to be able to deal with Hydration, and the hasn't even really been on him. The res comes out to just shift the momentum back into CLG's favor, and they are definitely making the most of it here as they're looking to clean up. Shake getting contested there by Hydration. They get pushed out the point. 4:10 Jamerson on the clock for CLG as a whole. I mean, they have bulldozed through Complexity on this map.
Yeah, as we saw throughout that payload portion of the map, once they actually capped point A, I think there was only about 3 kills coming in favor of Complexity that entire time. And then, even then, it was rezzed by the. So basically amounted to nothing. And so 4 minutes and 10 seconds, that is such a commanding time. Complexity really up against it at this point now, as they are going to be on the offense. CLG, let's see what kind of lineup they actually pull out for this defense.
Yeah, and I can't imagine, I mean, anything that CLG could do other than just huge mistakes time and time again to be able to lose this map. I mean, with that rate of attack, certainly, I mean, they have clinched this map. I mean, there would again have to be so many things gone wrong on the side of CLG for them to be losing this map and not being able to pull this one out. 4:10 on the time bank, Jamerson. I mean, that's absurd.
It really is. There were some signs of life on point A, but then it just fell apart. It just fell apart for Complexity. They tried to defend the payload really early on at the first bend. I believe it was Eco and Meza that jumped in with the Tracer and Winston combo, but like you had mentioned, Hydration was just in the sky, just getting off free damage and making sure that the support weren't able to keep up those tank frontliners there, and they just fell so quickly, and then from there everything just crumbled on the side of Complexity. But hey, you know, you just got to shake that off and try your best here, as they are going to be on the offense. But the defense coming out from CLG, we're seeing this very mobile defensive setup. Miso on the Diva, iShiny picking up the Winston, and of course Hydration on that Genji. So it's going to be this highly mobile comp that can react to whatever pushes come. And on the side of Complexity, though, it looks like they're going to go for a standard triple tank comp. Nicholas on the Diva, Meza picking up the Reinhardt, and Eco will be on that Roadhog, and they're pushing in for that high ground control.
And we saw Complexity pulling out the triple tank before, and they definitely look better on that setup than they do on the dive comp. But they have to contend with the dive now, and Waffle-tastic already coming out with a kill. We do see Eco landing a hook there, so they are going to be able to take a trade, opening things out. But still, things have been slowed down a little bit. Shake kind of in a dangerous position at the moment, but will be able to throw his grenade on the floor here and get his heals back up, as Joe Meister is coming back from respawn, so he's not going to be able to get that heal there. Going to be pulling that Vita grenade out. Another hook coming out there actually from Eco as he clinches another one, but they're only going to be able to demech Miso there. Still going well for them, I would say, so far, as Joe Meister gets slept.
Yeah, Nicholas is actually able to survive with this Diva there, as the hook did come out. Hydration was able to block that in. iShiny jumps on to that high ground, and Tactic Visor comes out from Torque. He gets the nano, and he's pushing forward, but Miso tries his best to try and eat that up. No kills coming over quite yet, as Miso is once again demeched there. And now, still, this is an extended team fight. No one quite died, but here we go. Hydration with that nano blade is going to push forward. He's got 2 kills off of it, as iShiny cleans up Shake, and it looks like Complexity are going to get shut down once again. Meza does get the kill onto Hydration, but too little, too late. Damage done.
And they had actually been in a pretty good position. I mean, they were able to demech Miso, and then they were also able to, you know, basically be in a great position to start pushing things forward. We saw Torque unleashing the Attack Visor. I mean, it's amazing that they had all these things working in their favor, and still they weren't able to close out. And Waffle-tastic didn't have to really even pull out his Attack Visor, so now he's going to have it in this next fight. And if Nicholas doesn't get up in his face, then he's just going to unleash that and just come alive in this next one.
Yeah. Complexity try to push out from lower there. We did have the Earthshatter come out from Meza, didn't quite connect, as Waffle-tastic finds the kill onto him, and now they are pushing forward on the side of CLG. There's a 3v4 team fight over here, as Miso is able to clean up that kill onto Eco, but Nicholas finds a kill onto iShiny before he falls himself. Just going to go ahead and reset for the next fight, and Complexity starting to build up some good ultimates, but so are CLG.
And now we're seeing swaps coming out once again here, as it is going to be a 2-2-2 dive style composition, where I imagine they're going to want to try to use Eco to contest that high ground that Waffle-tastic's on, because so far they haven't done anything with that. I mean, Nicholas has been on the Diva this entire time, but Waffle hasn't, I mean, really once been very contested by him at all here, and they finally get up in his face. Attack Visor at the ready, and actually Meza gets slept. Self-destruct coming out here. Attack Visor coming out as well, and he gets nano boosted, and he's just looking for kills again, and they back them off the point. Again, Complexity not looking like they're going to be able to pull anything out this time.
Yeah, the ultimate's just largely in the favor of CLG for that last engagement there. Hydration with that Dragon Blade was just able to clean up in the back line there. And so now with 1 minute left, less than 1 minute left on the clock, Complexity just might get shut out here. They're not changing much up on their end, and things are starting to look really dire.
I don't know how to feel about this. I mean, Complexity not looking like they're getting anywhere close here. I mean, Waffle-tastic going to be dropping back. They're all over him this time, which is exactly what they should have been doing from the beginning. And now they jump onto the point, trying to take advantage of this positioning, but they have all fallen out from trying to take on, you know, the backline once again. And finally, we're seeing that pivot come out from Meza, and Torque able to, with that extra little space to work with, finally going to be able to get a kill there onto Mikado. But Waffle-tastic going to be able to still be in this fight here, and it looks like he's going to get chased there by the Winston and be able to meet up with his Ana. They might be able to jump on this, but 3 kills come out for Complexity. It looks like they're going to hang on here and take this first point at least.
And just in the nick of time, cleaning up there, just as we got into overtime, Complexity will capture point A, but CLG definitely ate into their time bank there. They've only got 2 minutes and 20 seconds to push it into this next checkpoint. And so they're already holding up, trying to catch out any stragglers, but they're not going to find much except for Mikado.
We've seen a lot of teams, particularly in this group stage, I mean, really kind of with an inability to deal with defense on this particular stage, this street phase here. I mean, basically you see teams able to like jump into that first point. Maybe they lose that next fight and they get backed up into the spawn, but then they're pretty much able to just jump right back into it and then kind of hold the momentum until they just take that second objective. But we'll have to see if that's going to be the case. 145 remaining as Waffle-tastic unleashes the Nano Visor, and he's looking for kills. Already finds 2 here on the defensive side of CLG. Definitely looking like they're going to push these guys back with that first defensive fight, and they will be able to more than likely contest onto that spawn. We'll have to see if CLG wants to go for that strategy. I mean, I'm not sure if they're one of those teams that wants to do that. Looks like they're going to instead opt for better positioning as the rest of the team looking to try to get back into position with Anna coming off of that respawn, and Waffle-tastic not exactly completely healthy here, and with now Complexity jumping in. We do see Meza just jumping straight for that tank. That's iShiny, actually, and he does have that option of the Primal Rage. Meza jumping around here, trying to contest with everybody here. But the thing about their dive is they're so separated. Complexity not together at all. Meza going to be forced to Primal Rage just to keep himself up, and he's not really putting pressure on anyone. So again, I mean, they just need to be able to dive on the same targets, find these kills, and be able to push things forward, and really, they haven't been doing that.
Yeah, they were able to survive the Dragon Blade of Hydration for the most part, kiting backwards, but now losing 2. Here's CLG starting to push forward, try to clean up the other 4 members of Complexity, forcing them all the way back to spawn, and we see a sound barrier coming up from Mikado, not quite needed there, but still, moving into this next fight, they have so many ultimates to work with. They've got the Tactical Visor, the Nano Visor once again, the Self-Destruct, even the Primal Rage, and so now they are starting to engage upon them right now, as iShiny is going to go ahead and use that Primal Rage, just batting around the members of Complexity. Hydration does drop low, but here comes the Nano Visor for Waffle-tastic. He is put to sleep, though, gets woken up. He gets that kill onto Eco. Meza does clean up right now, and it is going to be the respawn advantage in favor of Complexity, so if this fight drags out just a little bit longer, Complexity might be able to win this, but not with Waffle getting that kill onto Meza.
Waffle is going to be killed off, but I think Meza made a huge mistake waking up Waffle to begin with. We do see the Nano Boost definitely helping things for Complexity, as it seems as though Torque has been able to put out a ton of damage, and if Mikado had actually held on to this sound barrier, they would have won this fight already. They would have been able to push this one back, but it seems as though they're still holding on here. They still need to deal with Torque on this Tracer. He's getting about 2/3 HP, but still getting a little bit of healing. They're backing them off a little bit. Sound barrier coming out there for Complexity. They're trying to push things forward now, and again, Torque just running through with tons of damage at the moment, trying to take down these tanks so that they can get control of the point. It's still an overtime contested, so it hasn't moved at all. iShiny getting dangerously low. He finally actually dies off as Torque manages to get his Pulse Bomb, throws it into a wall there, and that's going to go to waste.
Oh, but here comes the Dragon Blade from Hydration. Gets that first kill onto Eco. It is in overtime, starting to tick down. Miso gets demeched, but it doesn't matter as Waffle-tastic comes in. And Miso with the Bunny Blaster picks up that kill onto Nicholas. And that's going to be CLG taking Numbani, holding Complexity here, not allowing them to get that first checkpoint. Great job from CLG. I mean, they still had 4 minutes left in the bank, too. This was a pretty dominant win here on Numbani for them.
And now looking at what we're gonna more than likely go into here. I mean, typically what we see, especially after Numbani, is Complexity picking up Hanamura, and that seems to be the map of choice for them. And then right after that, you typically see something like a Nepal or a Hollywood, basically 50-50 between those two. But we'll have to see what Complexity wants to pull out here after that loss. But I don't know, man. It doesn't look like they were even really looking like they were all that close. I mean, CLG just were all over them, and even with CLG making a couple of mistakes, like Mikado just pumping out that sound barrier when he had no business in doing. I mean, it was a very clear disengage by Complexity when Mikado pulled that out, and the rest of the team wasn't really doing that poorly. I don't know why he decided that was going to be the best option for him in that particular situation. But now moving into a second map where, again, we're still just waiting on what Complexity is going to be doing. I imagine it's going to be Hanamura. We might see a Nepal or maybe even a Hollywood. But going up against a team like CLG with all of the wins that we've seen them pulling out, you know, obviously they're 1-2 right now, but they still have map wins over on Nepal, or they have a map win on Nepal, and they did just lose to Selfless, but they were able to take one from them. So I'm not sure what Complexity wants to pull out. It is going to be Hollywood, actually, that they pull out here up against CLG.
Yep. Hollywood is going to be picked up. I mean, we saw them in the past have success with it when they were frequently running that Sombra. It did get sussed out by a lot of teams, and they were able to really work out the attack pattern from Sombra. And since then, they haven't been as running it as much. I mean, they've also been plagued with these roster issues, and so it's going to be very difficult to try and pick out this use that really niche attack pattern. But I would love to see it again. I mean, very few teams actually bust out the Sombra. We've seen it a few times on like Anubis defense, but beyond that, we haven't seen much Sombra play. Right now, it looks like we are just trying to force the East Coast servers because the two tryout members for Complexity are, I believe, in Europe right now. So just give us a moment and we'll get that all settled and we'll be able to get into this game.
And I think we're right on the way to getting this started. So again, on Hollywood here, just looking into what these teams have been able to accomplish so far. CLG has only played Hollywood once throughout this group stage, and that is against LG Evil, where they did lose, I believe 3-4 if I'm not mistaken. So that's the only time we've seen CLG on this particular map, whereas Complexity has played it, I think one time as well, and I think that was yesterday against LG Evil themselves. And CLG, in my opinion, looked a little bit better versus LG Evil, but Complexity has gotten, I don't know, I want to say they've gotten slightly better as time has progressed, but they still haven't had the results that we're looking for out of this team. And again, a lot of plaguing of roster issues for sure ever since Harblue dipped out, and they've been trying to fill out 2 spots for quite a while with their tank as well. And I don't know, they just haven't felt as collectivized, I think, as we're used to seeing this team. Again, we saw Meza just kind of by himself. They've been unable to really utilize that D.Va in the best way possible, I think, to try to deal with Waffletastic on that Soldier. And when Hydration has been attacking with Pharah, largely uncontested, almost completely uncontested so far in this matchup. So I'd be very worried about going into Hollywood where, really CLG could very well put out another setup, the same type of map here that could look very much like Numbani on Hollywood, and this could be a very quick and easy 2-0 for CLG if it does go that way.
All right, we do have the players all in the lobby. As soon as we unpause, we'll get this underway, and here we go. It is going to be Complexity starting off on the attacking side here on Hollywood. And so CLG, their defense on Numbani looked fantastic. Now we are on another hybrid style map. Initially on Numbani, it took, I believe, Complexity until overtime to actually just cap point A. Do you think they might have some sort of pocket strat here on Hollywood? Because Numbani didn't look that fantastic for them at all.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this. I'm curious as to why they picked this. They have consistently gone for Hanamura as the second map after first map loss throughout this tournament, but they just haven't found the results on it. And going into this matchup, this is a shared map that they've had up against another team, LG Evil, where certainly, CLG looked to perform a lot better on it, especially against that particular team. Obviously, you can't match up, how one team does against another, because that hasn't worked well in the past for anyone. We've seen rock paper scissors type matchups not actually turn out as expected and not pan out well for the team expecting to basically take the advantage of that. But going into this one, I still think that you really have to try to deal with Hydration up in the skies here, and with the always on top of him, always really supporting him quite well. They need to be able to, utilize something like a D.Va to get up in his face, and then get a Soldier that really has, good aim, good knowledge of where to kind of stand and make sure that he's in a good position to try to deal with this stuff. But really, I think the biggest problem for Complexity is that they just don't seem to be playing well yet as a team, and that might come in time here, but I think that's the biggest thing. Nicholas going to be on the Pharah himself, and we are going to be seeing pretty standard dive strat coming out for Complexity. We'll have to see what happens here in this first attack here on their picked map of Hollywood.
Yeah, we got the 2-2-2 defense coming out, the Pharmacy and the Tracer as the DPS. Miso will be picking up the D.Va along with Ice Shiny, of course, on that Winston right now. On the side of Complexity, they're going for that triple dive, the Genji, the Winston, and the Tracer. No Pharmacy for them, though, but they do have Shake, who is a pretty good Zenyatta. Right now, it's going to be the opening frag going in favor of Complexity as they take out Mikado, but Ice Shiny will take out his counterpart. Eco, though, takes to the skies to take out with that Genji. Miso is going to get demeched here by Torque. Now things going heavily in favor of Complexity as they're starting to clean up. Hydration getting chased down by the members of Complexity, trying to just stay alive, but the body shot coming up from Nick will clean that up. And now it looks like they might have just done it. One tick on the board. Here comes a second as Eye Shiny gets cleaned up.
And now we do see Complexity definitely looking a lot better here, and now finally getting that first point there. Pretty good time for them actually to start things off here on Hollywood, trying to come back into this map, and Hydration not really landing a lot of the rockets that we're used to seeing him pull out, and we do see Nicholas actually kind of getting the better of that matchup so far at least, and now it's Complexity with an opportunity to get pretty aggressive here as we're seeing the pulse bomb come out, and actually Hydration still finding that kill. Eco going to be able to dash through and kill off Eye Shiny, and wow, Nicholas able to take the kill on Hydration, who basically just walks in front of the rockets there coming out of Nicholas. And then he takes that easy kill. Nicholas now going to be able to take out the as well. And it seems as though Complexity now finally able to keep this thing going.
All right, Waffle once again finding another kill, taking out Shake there. Now Eco does finally answer on back, and now Complexity with the man advantage. Miso has to be careful, but he gets demeched and immediately cleaned up by Meza at this point. CLG just going in with this trickle defense. They're able to solve the point just a little bit, but they're gonna have to regroup here as the payload is starting to make some good headway here on the streets phase of Hollywood.
I do see Hydration waiting to make use of this barrage right now, just sitting back here with the... And this is all just about sneaking around, trying to get the best opportunity possible. He gets aggressive. He jumps up into the sky here, and he's looking for an opportunity. Doesn't find it immediately here, so ultimately this hiding doesn't really amount to too much, especially with Mikado being taken out again very early on in this fight. And the barrage does come out. Hydration already with 2 kills here. Miso going to be able to find one with that self-destruct. And actually, being able to res right after the barrage of Nicholas. And they're going to be able to more than likely turn this back around. But we'll have to see. Hydration finding the kill on Shake. That's going to back Complexity up for sure.
Yeah, Shake had his res at the ready at the end of that team fight, but unfortunately just backing away, gets clipped by that rocket, gets taken out. Now so many ultimates on the table for Complexity for this next push though. And so after that trade, I really do favor Complexity's next push right now. Hydration and the still in the sky. Waffle-tastic also on the high ground just to try and pepper away at Nicholas and Shake. We'll see if that pays off for them right now as we do have Complexity pushing forward. Now Meza jumps onto Eye Shiny in the back, but here comes the sound barrier out on the side of Complexity. And for the large part, CLG will kite back until Eye Shiny gets taken out there. But immediately 2-for-1 trade. Mikado even coming in to get that kill onto Torque, and that's going to proc the resurrection on the side of Complexity. And now Eco getting the kill onto Mikado. He's going to go down, but Waffle-tastic finds a great pulse bomb kill onto Eco. This Pharmacy not actually trying to battle each other quite yet, but a body shot lands onto Hydration. He still has his Mercy to keep him alive. Now Meza, just the sole person on this payload now, as Torque is just trying to get into the back line. It's going to be Waffle-tastic that cleans him up, and now Nicholas is getting hunted down by Hydration, this angry monkey, and it's going to be Hydration that gets that kill.
CLG once again cleaning things up here on the defensive side, getting a little bit of that high ground action, but not going to be able to do too much with it other than really just kind of contesting Nicholas as he comes back out of spawn. But we will see them re-engaging here. Just over 2 minutes left in the time bank as Nicholas once again trying to dish out the damage with these rockets, now trying to take a pick if he can. But really, I think a lot is going to come down to Eco's ability to get the most out of this Dragon Blade coming up here. And he does actually take out Hydration with that dash. And he should be able to actually pull out the Dragon Blade here with Mikado falling pretty soon. But he's not going to finish that kill off. Eco, you got to find that kill, man.
Yeah, great one-man res actually paying off for CLG at this point as Hydration comes back in, gets the kill onto Meza with that barrage before Eco takes him out once again. But with Miso cleaning up Eco there, that's going to sound the retreat on the side of Complexity. No Hydration doing a really great job on this far so far. It's going to be a little while before he can build up his barrage, but he's gone mostly uncontested. Eco and Meza have been trying their best to take this guys to deal with him, and on occasion they have been able to get that kill, so he does have to be careful a little bit and try to create a bit more space for himself.
We'll see. Not too much time left here. I mean, Shake doesn't have that resurrect. We're already seeing Shake getting contested, and this guy is getting down pretty low here. And actually, it looks like he's going to be dealt with. Miso finally getting that kill. Nicholas by himself now, as Miso is all over that. Should be able to find that. And now with Miso taking those two, I mean, pretty high-impact players out of the sky here for Complexity. with 50 seconds left now, there's only really one more opportunity, I would say, or I mean perhaps two, but pretty much only one with the rate that we've seen Complexity able to re-engage to be able to jump onto this. And we do see Eco onto, I mean, we're seeing some swaps coming out all over the place from Complexity.
Coming out. Yeah, so we've got that McCree coming in. Meza has swapped off onto Reinhardt, Eco picking up Zarya, and Nicholas picking up that Roadhog. But the problem here is that they did it with 30 seconds left to go. It's going to take them forever. They only have 30 seconds to try and build up an ultimate. On iShiny immediately gets the kill onto Shake, and now it's going to be a 6v5 as Hydration finds another kill onto Torque. Here comes the barrage. Here's the self-destruct, and CLG just cleaning up easily against Complexity here as Joe Meister will be the final member to go down. 5 seconds left to go, and CLG, great hold here in the streets phase of Hollywood.
And now it's time ticking out. That's only 1 point on the board there with 84.91 meters ran with the payload here for Complexity, and now swapping over CLG with an opportunity to make an attack looking like Nabani. And if they can pull that off, then this will be the series over, and we'll be, I mean, really kind of chugging right along here, man.
Yeah, we're going to have possibly one of the shortest days of Overwatch PIT Championship so far, but it is going to come down to this defense here on point A for Hollywood. Complexity, we haven't seen their lineup quite yet, or their hero picks quite yet, but man, I don't know what that decision was in the last 40, 50 seconds of that map to switch off 4 of their heroes. It's so difficult to try and build up your ultimates if you think this is the composition that you need. You need to make that swap off around like a minute 30 to conservatively, that's a conservative estimate, to try and even build up your ultimate combinations, and they just didn't have it. And at the end, CLG had all of theirs, and they were easily able to clean up. They had the barrage, the self-destruct, it just, yeah.
So now on the defensive side, we're more than likely going to be seeing a triple tank composition come out from Complexity, because that's typically what they go back to, with Nicholas more than likely going to be on the Diva, but we'll have to see if they decide to do that, or if maybe putting him on a different character is the better option. It looks like he is going to be going over to a Tracer instead. And again, the question is if Torque is going to be able to deal with Hydration. I mean, we're going to see a lot of aggression come out of iShiny. I imagine he's going to try to jump up here onto that second level of Cafe and try to push him out. And that's going to give Hydration a lot of room to work with. Now, again, if Shay can actually come out with a nice Sleep Dart and a nice Biotic Grenade onto iShiny and limit the amount of healing that we're going to be seeing actually from Mikado and onto iShiny and guys like Hydration, then maybe they might be able to make this hold. But I don't know. I still think that going into this right now, it should be pretty simple actually for CLG to jump into this one after only probably like 2 or 3 fights that it'll more than likely take.
Hook comes out from Eco, lands onto iShiny. Unfortunately, they weren't able to actually finish off that kill as Miso with that defense matrix was actually able to keep him alive. Now, we do have the pharmacy combo on the side of CLG wrapping around from the backhand side, and now Torque's gonna have a difficult time trying to deal with it as the divers are jumping right onto him here in Cafe. Meza caught out just a little bit. He's starting to get focused down right now. And once again, this pharmacy combo going largely unchecked. There's gonna be Waffle-tastic that gets the first kill onto Eco. Hydration finds a second one, and that's gonna be a 3-for-1 trade there in favor of CLG.
And now they just need to deal with Torque here, who's over in this back corner, and Shake actually getting tossed around by these rockets, able to get that health pack there, and a nice body shot coming out from Hydration. He should be able to find 2 there, does indeed, and that backs them off. 3 minutes on the bank right now, but they're going to get more as they do just get that cap. 524 here as they're now escorting that payload. A lot of time to work with here and a lot of options as well, as Shake now swapping over to that Mercy. Not going to have that res, whereas the will certainly have it in this next one.
All right, they're already going for that high ground. Complexity did try to fight for it there. Eco will have another opportunity to just go ahead and shift on up. And now we got the pharmacy battles going again. Right now, the payload continuing to push forward in favor of CLG. They don't have to push it that far here in the street space.
We do see the Earthshatter coming out from Meza. He's trying to close things out a little bit, and Mikado getting pretty low here. Does get taken out. And as well, I mean, Torque now in a little bit of a battle here against the Tracer of Waffle-tastic. Miso still finding kills at the front line, and that's on to Shake. Waffle-tastic gonna get the better of that duel there, especially with a little bit of help from iShiny coming over at the very end. But that's CLG. I mean,
I don't know if we caught it there, but when the barrage came out from hydration, Misa was just babysitting that whole time with the defense matrix, making sure he wasn't getting tagged at all. So great team play coming out from them. Primal Rage getting popped by Ice Shiny here. He's trying to focus down Meza, and that's going to be Waffle-tastic that cleans them up. 2 members already down on the side of Complexity. Nicholas finally does answer on back, but might not be enough as Waffle cleans up Torque here. And now man advantage. Ice Shiny even getting the jump kill onto Shake here, so there's going to be no chance of the res. Waffle-tastic cleaning on up. Joe Meister was the last member there to try and contest. Eco jumps on though with his shift, but Meza gets sticky with that pulse bomb. He immediately goes down. That's going to be CLG taking the 2-0 victory here against Complexity.
And incredibly fast pace there for them, as well as now we do see Complexity falling there, and with that they have now fallen. I believe that makes them 0-4 there. So now that's basically signed it away. Complexity not going to be able to make the playoffs. Obviously, they still have one more game that will come tomorrow, and that is going to be against Gale Force Esports, who are 0-3 going into this as well. But today, Gale Force Esports going to be our last matchup, and they're going to go up against LG Evil. Certainly, LG Evil looking poised to take that series. But these first 2 matches, I expected to be really, really solid games, really close matches, and both of them have honestly been the 2 quickest series I think that we've had that have gone back-to-back so far in the Overwatch PIT Championships group stages. I mean, pretty much by far at least that I've casted and I can remember.
Yeah, I remember starting off this group with LD earlier on in the week, and he asked me, the final 2 spots in Group A, who do you think will it go to? And I just said it's any man's game. And at this point, Rise Nation with standing at the 2nd position here, with Selfless leading in 1st. It is anyone's game. And now take a look at this. Just CLG seemingly coming out of nowhere, almost securing their spot in our top 4 to move on to the playoffs. I mean, fantastic play coming out from them. We saw glimmers of really great teamwork there, although this was a really quick match. Very little breakdown ultimately in the end because it went so quickly. But just the tiny little plays like Miso protecting Faro while she was getting her barrage off. Having the sense to just go for that solo tempo res onto hydration during their defense, that really paid off for them. A lot of things are adding up to just the CLG squad being a very strong contender here in North America.
I definitely have to agree that CLG has definitely picked things up. Like I said before, starting with the open qualifier, I think primarily, at least from my perspective, they have definitely stepped up. And since they've been able to be one of the teams that have been able to actually not obviously beat out Selfless, but they took a map against Selfless in the qualifier. One of the only teams able to actually do that. And then on top of that, they actually have been able, even in this group stage, to be able to take a map off of them on Nepal and be able to score some decent points against them on Hanamura. But certainly they're looking better. But I think moreover, it's kind of Complexity's lack of ability to kind of really play on the level that we're used to seeing them. I think they've kind of found themselves in a little bit of a slump, and they're going to have to just get themselves out of it. I mean, certainly they have the talent to be able to do that, and it's just about getting back into things. Obviously, they're, going through the process of locking down a roster, and that's certainly going to put you in that situation where you're kind of in a slump. But, I mean, hopefully for those guys, as they have been a mainstay in NA, I mean, a solid team in this region for a very long period of time. I hope they can battle back, because at the moment, they have pretty much lost their chances of going into the playoffs at 0-4 right now. But nonetheless, our next matchup is going to be Gale Force Esports versus LG Evil. LG Evil hoping to take this to be able to secure their spot in the playoffs if they can win this one out, and Gale Force hoping to just get back into the swing of things and maybe make a play to get into them at all, as they're sitting 0-3. But guys, don't go anywhere. We will be right back in just a few minutes here with that last matchup.